Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to beat Yinglong, the second, but I mean it's also kind of the first battle of the Refraction Railway 6. Now, before I get into it, there's a couple things I have to say. One, there is an hour and 20 minutes of footage, so I'm going to have to skip through some stuff and I'm going to have to put it on 2x speed, the replay. Just wanted to warn you right up front, that's just how it goes. Second, this fight is very difficult even when you use all the right strategy, okay? This fight is very difficult. Don't feel bad for looking up a guide, right? It is legitimately hard. Um, so that means I just have to recommend, as a matter of course, you see here I've got this cool Blade Lineage team. Wow, very cool. Um, I would recommend you don't use this team and you bring something that has a much higher damage output. So if you bring, I'm putting some of the best teams on Limbus on the screen. This is not an exclusive list, but these are just 5 really strong teams that currently exist. If you bring one of these teams, you will have a much better time because your damage output will be way higher than my damage output. And damage is the #1 thing that determines your ability to win this fight. Because if you let the Haitial Pack grind on and you let Phase 4 of Yinglong grind on, you're in a lot of trouble. Okay, well I should say Phase 3 of Yinglong. He doesn't have a Phase 4. That was I misspoke. However, now you're thinking, well, if I had one of these teams, I would have already won. So that's where the rest of this video starts now. And we use this passive ability, High Grade Ampule. I was able to get this identity for free by using my selector ticket from the anniversary to get him. They've given out a lot of selector tickets for Season 2. If you don't have a selector ticket, I would really recommend just sharding this guy because even if your teams are bad, this passive is so overpowered it can carry you. I don't even use this to its full potential, and I still am able to win, even misusing this passive ability. Now you're thinking, okay, what does it do? What does it do? K-Core Ampule means that ally's going to heal 10% of their HP every turn, because I think each Ampule is 5%. If they hit 5 Ampule, they die, but you'll never hit 5 Ampule on someone as long as you pay a little bit of attention to when this is activating, and if someone already has 4, then you can't afford to activate it again. Okay. Gonna put it on 2 times speed. Sorry, just had to adjust the settings. Okay, now it's on 2 times. Now, Yinglong. 2 things to note. I'll pause here for a second. Thing #1 to note is these gloom skills. See, I'm circling my mouse around these gloom skills, the blue ones. The units who clash the gloom skill gain capricious mercy, and it makes them stronger. So you want 2 different units to clash against the gloom skills every time. Now let's talk about the red skills. Those are descending pin. You need to win the clash against those because that does 300 damage to them when you win the clash. So you always want to win against descending pin. And then these 2 green skills are just kind of whatever. Then there's the inverted scale. Okay? Every time you hit the inverted scale, Yinglong starts ramping up faster and faster. So the first go around, you want to avoid hitting the scale for as long as you can. I would hit it at around 6 or 7 pin. I decided to hit it at 5. I think that was a little bit of a mistake. I would recommend 6 or 7 pin. Okay. Now, so that's the gimmick. He's got the pin. You want to win the clash against the pin. And then he's going to buff you if you beat the Draconic Vortex things. He'll give you Capricious Mercy. Honestly, Phase 1, extremely simple. Very simple. This is my second try. Just to preface, I did an attempt before this. I lost the clash against the pin and some of the skills. I restarted, then boom, I'm back here for try 2. You can also see I did 4 Gluttony Resonance, which activated K-Core Ampule, okay? So now I have K-Core Ampule going on my least HP unit, which is Yisong, because he's the most fragile. Yisong getting 2 K-Core Ampule means he won't die for the rest of the fight because he's basically immune to all chip damage, because anytime the boss does chip damage with its AoE, attack weight, unbreakable coins, Yisong will just heal it off next turn. So that one decision right there on turn 1 wins me the fight because Yisong has the highest damage output on this team other than Blade Lineage Merceau. And Blade Lineage Merceau, I'm not worried about dying because he's really tanky. It's only Yisong with his low HP and 3 stagger thresholds that I'm worried about dying. But now Yisong's good because he's just immune to chip damage. Now, realistically, I should have sharded out, got out like 4 more ampules, 6 more ampules if I could have. But I kind of screwed up because I brought in Rooster Heathcliff, who burns himself, and I wanted Rooster Heathcliff to die so I could get a different unit onto the battlefield. So I didn't want to give ampule to Heathcliff, so I kept waiting for a better chance, but no one ever got lower health because Rooster Heathcliff burns himself, so he was always going to be the lowest health after the first turn. So I don't get any other ampules out because, again, I literally greed, and I just shouldn't have greeded. But I still am able to win the fight just with the ampules on Yisong. Okay, same deal. You can see I have 2 different, well, you can't see right now. There we go. Faust and Yisong are clashing the Gloom skill. So they're going to get Capricious Mercy. I'm trying to spread it out, buff as many people as I can. And then otherwise I'm just going for the pin. I really recommend when you're going for the pin to use a attack skill with at least 3, ideally 4 coins, because the pin skill has a low base power, and so even if you have a skill that's like, it says it's neutral against the struggling pin, or the descending pin, you can still win the clash because you'll have 3 or 4 chances, and you only need to win the clash a single time, which means he just needs to roll tails a single time, and you'll win the clash. And since he's an abnormality, that's a 50% on every coin. And there we go. We can see he's starting to get angry because I hit the pin. I think I hit the pin too early. I think hitting the pin on turn 3 was a mistake. But I hit it anyways. And we're just keep on going. Okay, the rest of phase 1 is just kind of about maintaining this pressure because your damage output doesn't matter because all your damage is going to come mostly from defeating the descending pin. So not a big deal. Not a big deal. So we're going to skip ahead a bit just because, again, this fight is so long. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to skip ahead through phase 1 because it's a lot more of the same. And we're going to get into phase 2 because phase 1 probably isn't where you're struggling with this fight, would be my guess. Otherwise, if you are, your team is probably too low level or you need more sustain, like that K-Corp passive or something. Okay, phase 2. Honestly, this is the hardest part of the railway right here. This is so hard. This is so hard. So how do you deal with it? Number 1 way is this Durante button, right? You want to hit Durante. You want to use Pegrita to have all their speed. And you want to stagger Hong Lu before he can use Tears of the Tarnished Blood. That is the number 1 way to deal with the situation with Hong Lu. Now, I can't do that because my units are too slow. Even if I have them and take them to 7 speed or even 6 speed, I literally don't have the damage output to kill him because look at my units. 6 speed, 6 speed, 5 speed, 4 speed, 4 speed, 2 speed. And so that, unfortunately, was unavailable to me. That's why the Haitial pack is so good, because if you use the Haitial pack, your speed is going to be super high as well. But that didn't happen. The other thing to note about Tears of the Tarnished Blood, it's one of the only egos in the game that's effect, its passive ability or whatever, activates on the turn he uses it. So if he gets Tears of the Tarnished Blood off and you kill him the first turn, it will still activate, okay? This isn't like other egos where their ego passive doesn't kick in till the next turn. Tears of the Tarnished Blood is right away. So you can't, so don't even think about it, okay? Don't even think about it. If you want to take out Tears of the Tarnished Blood, you have 2 options. Number 1 is when you hit the orb, you become invincible next turn. The downside is it only lasts for being hit once. So if you screw it up and like Moust comes in and hits you with a skill and then he uses it, yeah, your invulnerability is gone. Option number 2 is you can kill the orb and it is supposed to apply same turn attack power up to or the thing to everyone. But I've had issues with that because the orb goes to 1 HP and then it can't die until it uses its skill and then it uses its skill and it hits you. but then your invulnerability goes away because the skill hit you and took away the invulnerability, but this you took it to 1 HP, so the skill did 0 damage, and then Tears of the Tarnished Blood goes off anyways. So there's some risk in that. The safest way to deal with the situation is to kill him before it activates by using the Pregrita thing, or it's to have units splash the orb. So listen carefully here. Splash the orb with attack weight. That means they hit the orb, so they're gonna get invulnerability against one skill the next turn. Because if you're not killing it, you're just hitting it. It applies the next turn, not the same turn. And then the turn after that, you hit Hong Lu. So that's where having egos on with high attack weight is really useful. Now I sort of screw this up, and I have 3 people die, but I have 4 people who are good on the bench to come in. So I built myself a little bit of a cushion by bringing some backup units. Okay, sorry I just talked for 3 minutes about phase 2, but those are the 2 sort of ideal ways to deal with the situation, is to Pigrita out, kill him, or hit the orb, gain next turn invincibility, and then pop Tears of the Tarnished Blood so it can't hit you. Yeah, so on its death it applies, but when it takes damage that brings its HP down to 0, it doesn't die, right? So it's gonna go last. It's gonna hit you with the thing. It's gonna anyway. It's sort of trying to kill it to get the invincibility to kill Hong Lu the same turn. It just doesn't work. It literally just doesn't work. Now you will see me make a big oopsie here, and I'll explain the oopsie when it happens, but anyway, you'll get to see. So there we go, Tears of the Tarnished Blood, it's activated. No good. Even though his Eagle passive little thing didn't pop up under his name, it's still activated. Okay, it's kind of confusing. Oh, I did get Ampules out on Heathcliff. He just died anyway. Interesting. Okay, let's put the speed down to 1, and let's see this mistake. Why do I want to show you the mistake? Because, it's educational. So I used to claim their bones. You can't really control what it's going to hit. It hits Hong Lu, bringing him down to 7 HP. And then Sun Shower goes off and kills Hong Lu. Except he can't die because of his passive, and he already used Tears of the Tarnished Blood. So then Hong Lu gets to use Tears of the Tarnished Blood on the same turn. It's a catastrophe. I didn't follow any of my own advice because I just kind of assumed that to claim their bones wouldn't bring him down to 7 HP and that Yisong wouldn't kill him, but it does. And that almost bricks the entire run right there. But that's why it learned from me, right? If you're going to use something like to claim their bones where it doesn't show you where the attack weight's going to land, and so you're kind of left guessing even if you use like your best information, yeah, you're in danger. I think because Hong Lu's towards the front, I probably could have known that to claim their bones was going to hit him. But I mean, I just was thinking about it. I was like, oh yeah, I'll get to claim their bones off. Terrible idea. Terrible idea. Be more aware of what you're doing. Be aware of your own actions. Okay, so now I'm in the situation where I'm like, wow, the run's over. I have 4 people who are staggered. What am I even going to do? But there's some good news. There's some good news. 2 of my units splashed onto the orb. And so because of that, they are immune this turn because they technically hit the orb. Secondly, you don't actually need to kill the orb to stop its insane nuke from going off. You just need to stagger the orb. That's it. You just need to stagger the orb. And staggering the orb is actually quite useful because if you stagger the orb stays around, which means you can farm it for more invincibility. So this is when I realized, wait a minute, I still have a chance because I can farm the orb for invincibility and I don't actually need to kill it. I just need to do like 40 damage to it to stagger it. So you'll see here that this is how you kind of turn it around, and even in this bad, terrible situation where Faustus died and Don Quixote has replaced her. I tried to kill Hong Lu with this, but I roll tails. He doesn't die. I don't even know if rolling heads would have killed him, but, whatever. And then, of course, they roll triple heads. Alright, let's increase the playback speed again. Put it on 50% faster. The fact that Ryoshu doesn't die from that is ridiculous. I guess that's the power of being a tank. So it looks like everything's doomed, but the orb, maybe I missed Heathcliff's skill going off. I think I missed it. Oh yeah, there it goes. It was Don Quixote, not Heathcliff, that staggered it. Right there. Staggered it. Boom. And now, no orb. No orb skill to kill you, and you can still farm the orb, and I have invincibility on Don Quixote. So Don Quixote can afford to take a lot of risks because, she'll be fine. Okay. Now, we can tell that Hong Lu is ready to die because he has tarnished blood on him. You see that little, if I pause, that 2 right here, I'm circling with my mouse. The 2. That means he's bleeding out because his passive ability on his kit activated already that saves him from death. And he's already used Tears of the Tarnished Blood. We don't need to worry about that. So, that means Hong Lu's ready to die. This is my opportunity, I realize, because I'm thinking, okay, he's at 12 speed. I can take him down to 6 speed. I can kill him with Merceau. Suddenly, boom, don't need to worry about Hong Lu because I know he's ready to go. So I use this skill because Hong Lu's fatal to blunt, and Tears of the Tarnished Blood changes him to being fatal to sloth as well. So this ego from Merceau is going to do 4 times damage to him with the attack weight splash and kill him, which is, quite ideal, one could say. Okay, gonna increase the playback speed again. Hopefully this is kind of giving you an idea of like this fight is just all about resilience, right? It's all about resilience. Notice that Yisong, one of my most fragile units, is still healthier than Merceau, Ryoshu, and the 3 units who died, all because of those 2 ampules he got on him turn 1, so he just heals 10% of his HP every turn. So Yisong has, over the course of this fight, already on turn 10, he's probably healed 160 HP just for free off that passive. He would be 100% dead if it wasn't for those 2 K-Core ampule on him. And here we go. This is the end of Hong Lu, the horrible, horrible, horrible to fight fiend. Boom. And then this is the end of another Heisho. Boom. And at this point, you've kind of made it. Once you take out Hong Lu and Faust, you've kind of made it. The last 2 things to worry about are Rooster Heathcliff and Family Hierarch Ishmael. Those are both problematic because when they come onto the battlefield, they'll just do a bunch of damage to you because they come in and they use their skill 3 when they come out from reserve. Or, let me take that back. I don't think Heathcliff will because Hong Lu is dead, but Ishmael always will because she just does that. She always uses a special skill when she comes onto the battlefield. Alright, nothing super interesting here. I'm ignoring Otis. I'm not trying to clash with it because Sinclair has the Dragon's Mercy on him, so Sinclair can't take damage. So if Otis wants to waste an ego on Sinclair, I say feel free. Drain 10 of your sanity. I don't care. And then just I'm kind of playing slow because I'm trying to optimize, all my damage output. You can see here in the slower moment of the fight, I'll point out that the enemy does have that butterfly passive on them that I showed from phase 1. But the good news is it doesn't actually do anything. If you click on it, it'll say this has no effect because I didn't clash with the butterfly. Okay, more mercy applied on Don Quixote, giving her continuing immortality. Some scary damage coming from the unbreakable coins on Yisong, but I know he'll just heal it next turn. Getting Merceau's Regret passive activated. Now he has Regret, and he has Shadowed Bladesinger, and he has Crushbound Past, making Merceau a very scary unit to fight. Okay, Orb time. So obviously Orb is scary. We want to stagger it. We want to deal with that. So I do send a skill to make sure it goes down. I think I used Merceau to make sure it dies. I don't remember, but yeah, watch out. I decided to just ignore Capote because I just have no way of dealing with that. I do make a mistake. I just take a hopeless clash against it. I should have used an evade. Why? Because yeah, I wouldn't have been able to invade anyways. The reason why is then I don't feed Ishmael 10 sanity. Because if she beats the evade, she won't gain sanity. So that's a mistake I make. But I wasn't thinking clearly. There comes Ishmael doing big damage. I love Blade Lineage Yisong because he rolls higher on his skill 1 than any other identity in the game, except for maybe Blade of the House of Spiders Ryoshu. That's just how good Blade Lineage Yisong is. Casually rolling a crazy high number. And there we go. Orb is gone. Orb is gone, and because it died, right, now we all get the immortality. So this is like a chill turn. We can kind of do whatever we want because, you know, we're invincible. But remember, the invincibility goes away after you get hit. So if there's 2 skills targeting a unit, only the first one you'll have invincibility against. Okay, I'm gonna skip through this because it's pretty low stakes. We have invincibility. Oh, there we go. Sorry about the flashing. I don't know why I was doing that. Okay, phase 3. It's been 25 minutes of this video. I'm sorry this took so long, but there's just so much footage because my damage output is so low with this, you know, old team. Okay. The gimmick in phase 3 is very simple. You have to break the wedge, which is its front skill that uses the guard every turn, in order to beat the fight. And you want to win the clash against the guard skill on the wedge every single turn, because if you don't win the clash, it gains additional pin. That's the gimmick. The guard skill gives him a pin, but it doesn't give him a pin if it loses the clash. But if you just ignore it, he will still gain pin. And slowing down Yinglong's pin growth is going to be very important. So basically, you're in a situation where you need to win all 7 clashes every turn. How do you win all 7 clashes every turn, especially if your team is bad? The only option is to spam ego. So hopefully at this point you've saved a bunch of ego resources over the fight. What also helps, oh, excuse me, I'm yawning. What also helps is having high speed because Yinglong is immune to bind. So the normal strategy of just spamming Chains of Other is only half as effective because the bind from Chains of Others won't help. This is also a situation where taking Yisong's default ego to up tie 4 is a good idea because his default ego will grant haste to allies, I think at up tie 4, which is quite nice. Or does it apply bind to up tie 4? I don't remember, but default ego from Yisong, check it out. It does apply haste to your team, which can be a nice way to ensure you get the right clashes. So what am I doing if I need to break the wedge? There's really no good answer here. There's no good answer here. You need to, every 3 turns, it will give you an opportunity where it only has the wedge skill up, so you can put all 7 skills into it. But coincidentally, that's also when it uses a massive scary nuke that does ludicrous damage output to your team. And if you lose the clash against the nuke even once, it will wipe your whole team. So it's an opportunity and kind of a curse. Realistically, there isn't a lot you can do here. except bring a lot of attack weight skills, because then the attack weight can hopefully splash onto the wedge and deal some extra damage. Some good examples are Furioso, right? Big surprise that Furioso is good, but yep, it is. Furioso on the Index E-Song is incredible here. Another example is House of the Blade of Spiders Ryoshu, lots of free attack weight. The skill 2 on the Manager Don Quixote, right? Lots of attack weight. So you have some options there. And here we go. The HP bar on Yinglong basically means nothing, because even if you destroy body parts, which you'll see me do in this fight, they just regenerate 3 turns later. So none of the HP values are really significant except the wedge. There we go. I'd start putting all the damage I can into the wedge. Dominating clash, only do a dominating clash against this thing, and make sure it's on something ideally that only has a 1 coin skill, because like on To Claim Your Bones, it's a 1 claim skill, so I have a 95% chance of winning the clash every coin flip. If I bring a 3 coin skill and I need all 3 to go off, suddenly you have 5% chances to fail every single clash rather than 5% chance to fail. So yeah, 1 coin skill definitely better for clashing. And we're back to the hellscape of just waiting another 3 turns for an opportunity. And I did like what, 10% of the wedge's HP? I mean, it's pathetic. But that's just how it goes. You can see here, looking at the replay, there's 30 minutes left. This video's 30 minutes long already, and I still have 30 minutes of footage left. I am gonna have to skip ahead through this because that rotation I just showed is literally what I do for the next half an hour. The rotation does not change. It doesn't change. So you need to keep that up for half an hour of only taking a dominating clash every 3 turns against the nuke and trying to win all 7 clashes each turn, so hopefully you saved up ego resources. This is why I said the middle is a good team, because the middle can generate a lot of ego resources through Otis's Battle Pass ego that generates ego resources based on Envy Resonance. I'll go for Scissors, how about you? And the middle is also good because you could put 7 Envy Resonance into the nuke and then have one person clash it, like Otis, and then suddenly you're hitting him with a full 6 counters. Like you'll have Big Brother Heathcliff counter, you have Little Sister Don Quixote counter, you have Merceau counter, you'll have Sinclair counter, and so they're all going to hit big damage on the wedge every time you have the opportunity. So that's why I said the middle is good, is because they're specifically good here for Phase 3. Okay, so I am going to skip ahead, like I said. I'm really sorry to do this, but there's way too much footage. So we'll go here to where I only have a few people alive. I've killed every body part, although they're going to regenerate in a turn. And the wedge still has 33% HP left, so I'll pick up the replay. So at this point, all you care about is dealing damage, right? That's how it's been the whole fight, but once the thing is this close, like, you really just need to kill it. So bring out the egos, whatever you gotta do. 500 HP. Boom. And because I screwed it up and it's not dead, he's back. The fight's been going on for 30 minutes, so he's at 10 pin, right? I've taken way too long. I have 2 units dead, so I only have 5 skills that can clash instead of 7, so I can't clash everything. What are my options at this point? My only option is to kill the pin, right? My only, or the wedge. And so I would, if you're in this situation, tell you it is better to gamble and just to hit the pin. Hit the wedge. I keep calling it the pin. Hit the wedge. I do make a mistake here. I take the Hopeless Clash to get to claim their bones to activate, because I hope that the attack weight will splash the wedge. Yeah, guess what? It doesn't splash the wedge. I get unlucky. And so I lose a clash with Merceau, and I do 0 damage to the thing. I should have just activated Overclock on Shadow Bladesinger and just killed the wedge right here and now with Merceau. This is a huge mistake, but I still win the fight. But it does have other consequences that you'll see in a moment. So skip ahead. You'll see that the thing didn't die, and I have 2 more units die. Yisong, surprisingly, still alive and healthy. Why? Because of the 2K core impulse. So right here, I just decide, okay, this thing needs to die. There we go. Still not dead. It has 20 HP left. And I do make a mistake that you'll see. I make another mistake, which is that I use Ego when it only had 25 HP left, and I should have just hit it. I don't know why I mean, I was really scared is the real answer, right? But I should have just hit it. It has 8 fragile. It was, oh, it had 75, not 25. Maybe I didn't make a mistake then, but yeah, then this happens. If I was pretty scared to hit next turn. I was looking for anything. Whoa. Let's put the playback speed to normal. I don't know what just happened. And we can see here, I kill it, and I die of tarnished blood because I was covered in tarnished blood. Now, the consequence of my failure to kill it 2 turns ago, when I did the stupid to claim your bones thing that got Merceau covered in tarnished blood, is that I don't have Merceau alive anymore, which means I can't deal 333 damage to the butterfly. It's literally impossible. Which means I can't permanently nerf the final boss, because if you can break the shield of this butterfly at the end of each station and deal 333 damage to it, you get a permanent debuff on the boss going into the final thing. But the game punishes you for bad clears because I can't get it. I can't get it. So yeah, I could have gotten it if Merceau and Honglu and Gregor had been alive, but they weren't because I did the wrong thing. Which, it happens, right? It just means when I fight the butterfly, it'll be just a little bit stronger. Okay, I hope this video helped you. It's way longer than my normal videos. I tried to show off as much of the dragon fight as I could. The big things to take away is bring a source of sustain. In my case, it was the K-Core Ampules on Yisong. And bring your highest damage output team you can. Have a good day, managers, and I'll see you around.